crack on. Sabin, have
One
you had a chance?
second. Sorry. I'm recovering my password. I forgot all my stuff since I reset my computer.
The class shall wait for Griffin.
Thank ya.
Yeah.
Yeah, that one guy from Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, anyway, regardless of whether we're waiting for you, Griffin, I'm not going to be speaking to you for the moment. Anyway, this is directed at Sabin, who wasn't here last week. Have you had a chance to read up on what happened last week, Sabin?
Well, I looked for a post that stated what happened last week, but I was unable to find one yesterday.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But I did ask Bose about what happened, and he informed me.
Okay. That's weird. I put the post up last Friday. Okay.
I mean, I just didn't see it.
No, it's alright.
User joined your channel.
Oh.
Also, is it on the new website or the old one?
I did it on the old one because I still haven't had my application for the new one accepted. Well, I haven't checked today, but you're right, there's nothing there. That's weird. Okay, I'll check to see what's happened to that. It should be there. Right, that's fine. Anyway, okay, so you've actually heard what happened from Bousset.
Yeah.
Cool. And welcome, Anatom.
How's it going?
Yeah, good, thanks, man. Good. Okay. Well, that being the case, then, does anyone have any questions before we kick off?
I heard something about the new website. I was briefly told about it, so I'm guessing it's still not up and running.
It is. It's www.steelbourne.com.
It's in TeamSpeak at the very bottom of the listings, by the way.
Just above AFK.
I still can't find it. Don't worry yourself, brother.
Nice.
Oh yeah, that's true. I completely
nice.
forgot about that.
Cool. Okay. So no one has any questions about what happened last week? In that case, we will start. Now, when we left it, you were on a place called the God's Theatre, also known as the Marshes of Tun. And you'd been speaking to somebody, a rather effete, feminine, male elf, who looked quite different to the elves that you know and love. Very, very bronzed skin, light-coloured hair, almost radiated, glowed, almost. And you had talked to him very, very briefly about what was going on. And he said that he had no doubt that you and he would meet again in the future. And with a flick of his wrist, he opened up a portal and flung you through it. And that's pretty much where he left it. Okay. When you go through this portal, everything goes black. And when everything comes into focus again, you realise that you are all lying on the ground, and it looks like, for all intents and purposes, like you've been knocked out or something like that, and you've had a bit of a funny turn. Your head feels a little bit fuzzy. You have a bit of a headache and maybe a bit of a crick in your neck or something like that. and you're all lying on the ground. I know, right? Now, you're all dressed as you were previously. None of you are dressed as the elves that you were a few moments ago. Falstag looks like the half-orc that he is, and the rest of you look like your respective elven, half-elven selves. It's day, it's sunny, it's warm. You're on a very, very dusty road. You're in the middle of a junction, much like the picture you see ahead of you, in front of you on the screen. Off to the side of the road, there is this big monolith upon which is very old and very weathered writing that you can't really make out from this distance. You need to get up quite a bit closer and see whether you can make it out from there. And around you is a thick forest. The forest is very much alive. You can hear animals, there are birds in the trees flitting backwards and forwards. It doesn't feel odd in any way, shape or form. It feels like a perfectly normal forest. And that's what you've got.
So when we wake up, that blackness, does it seem at any bit familiar as what happened on the ship?
No.
It doesn't? No.
Well, when you woke up before, that was very much because of some kind of trauma that occurred to you. This isn't because of some kind of trauma, so in that regard it's different. But with regards to going unconscious and waking up again, I suppose there are similarities there, yes.
And on a little side note, I heard there's some birds around here.
Yeah.
Any particular kind of bird?
Forest-dwelling birds. Whatever they would be.
Okay.
Well, they range. They're everything from 10, 15 foot up to about 30, 40 feet. All right, yeah, you can. Yeah, if I have a dex and athletics roll.
And when we wake up, are we all together or are we
Yes.
spread out? Okay.
Well, you are. Well, yes. I mean, you're together. You're spread out around the road area, but you're relatively close to each other. You're not spread that far apart. Certainly not as far apart as you were when you woke up in the water. 13 is absolutely fine. You climb the tree quite happily, and you look out through the canopies here and there, and you're in the middle of just an enormous forest. For miles upon miles upon miles upon miles in each direction. Yeah, you see mountains in, like, so far in the distance as to be untrue. Yeah, there's a set of mountains that are, well, off in one direction. They've got to be hundreds and hundreds of miles away. Not that you can see. You think you look off, as you look off in the direction of the mountains, you think that just down to your left you can see the glint of water running through the forest, but again, that's got to be a long way away. A long way away.
Could
Tree
you
you climbed, but
ping the
tree-
map just for a little reference on kind of where we're at?
The tree that you climbed
Okay,
is there.
thank you.
And where you guys are is literally in the middle of that crossroads.
And when he went up the tree, there really wasn't any difference between going left or right or southeast.
So I don't get you. I'm sorry.
Whenever he climbed the tree, you said it was basically the same in all directions, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, you've got your nature skills, so let's have a relevant skill check. What have you got that's relevant? Let's have a look. Yeah, perfect. That deep. Nice. Okay. You think the closest body of water is probably, as you look at the trees and look where you are, you think it's southwest of where you are at the moment, just by going and by the ivy and the bark on the trees and where the sun is and things like that. And the closest body of water is southwest, which is almost down the southwest road, but more kind of between the fork to the south. And you think maybe 100 miles, possibly? Yeah. Let me just check that to make sure.
Okay, this is more of a map question, but what are those like? I don't know. It looks like I don't know if they're like a fallen down tree or what they kind of look like. It almost looks like there's something hiding behind the tree.
No, it's just part of a tree. No, you reckon it's not quite 100 miles, less than that, maybe 50, 60 miles, looking at the map now. Oh, I've just verified that. Yeah. No, that's just fallen part of a tree. There's nothing to worry about.
Okay, and that's not water right here. That's a
No,
rock,
that's
maybe.
that big rock that I was talking about.
Okay.
Can I examine the monolith?
Yeah. It's basically a carved standing stone, and it's about 20 foot high, and it's made. It has a plinth, a glossy grey stone that the carving is on, that the words are written on, and the stone looks very worn, pretty much through the years of just being left out to the elements. And then the base, although it seems to be made of a different, possibly harder stone, has still weathered quite badly. Although you can tell that written round the base there are two lines of writing, one in Elvish and one in Common. And you can speak both languages, can't you?
Yes.
And you realise that actually both lines start smack bang in front of the monolith, the very, very middle, and there is a line, an engraving. There's an engraving on the monolith, but it's faded. But the main part that you can see running down the middle of the monolith from top to bottom is a line, and starting just to the right of that line on the base is the writing, both in Elvish at the top and Common at the bottom, that spans all the way round the outside of this base. And it says, "While there is even one Telquisir within the forest, the men of the Dales may settle the cleared lands around us. This stone and the pact of peace between our peoples shall crumble if ever the Dalesmen willingly reduce the woods or invade the lands claimed by the Telquisir." you want me to say that again?
No, got it. So then I'll say that to the group. This monolith just looks like some sort of war treaty.
Now, for those of you who are elves, and actually all of you, because you're either elves or half elves, the Telquasir is a very, very ancient name for the creatures known as elves at the time.
So from that, would we assume we were in the past, or would that give us any indication at all? Would
Well, it looks
kind of
like
like
this
the
has been like
history
that a
roll?
very long time. So this stone has been there for hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands of years, probably.
User disconnected from your channel.
Okay, and this looks like it's been there for eons, almost.
I guess at this point, I would, since Pharaoh's the one that climbed up the tree, I would ask him, so what direction do you suppose we should go? Well, looks like it's a starting point.
Yeah. As you look about, you realise that there is there is more water and mountains to the north, but they are even further away. I mean, the water has got to be 5-6 times further away to the north than the river you believe to the south. But you think the river, the water to the north is a substantial body of water rather than just a river, but it is hundreds and hundreds of miles away through a forest, I might add. Unfortunately not.
Um, Could I use like a nature skill, a nature roll to examine the road itself? Would it, possibly pick out which direction or which path was traveled on by more people, maybe indicating a small city, village, or something like that?
Well, the whole thing looks like all of the road is really well travelled, all of them. Now, I will say the north-south, the northeast to the southwest looks to be slightly more travelled, but the other one is still being travelled quite a bit as well.
All right, let's do it for style.
Wait, did you say southwest or southeast? Alright.
Yeah, it's shortest, but the other two paths did seem they were traveled on a little bit more, but um, it's way too far for us, at least, I think. Oh, southwest seems like a southeast sounds like a starting point. So I'm gonna roll in favor of that because we're kind of at a crossroads here, literally. Or everybody in favor of going southeast?
Falstag agrees to go southeast.
Alright, then let's do it.
All right. So we will travel southeast under the cover of the forest.
No, you just climb down. So southeast is pretty much down that road. So you're going to go off of the road to the south and then head southeast.
Yeah, in
Alright.
case travelers show up and we can ambush them from the bushes.
Why would you ambush travelers?
They could be carrying a pentagram and performing necromancy. I don't know. Better safe than sorry.
Okay, so you. So you're going to head southeast away from the water. The water is to the southwest.
No, we're going to go towards the river southeast.
So that's southwest.
Yeah.
Then what path is southeast?
That's southeast.
Yeah.
Okay, that's away from the water.
Oh. Well, we're going towards the river.
The water is down this way.
Learn your directions, man.
Might have been my mistake. I might have said southeast instead of southwest.
Sorry, Dungeon Master. We'll let you pass on this one.
Psst, combo, I didn't. I'm just being nice. Right. So you head off into the woods. How far away from the path are you going to walk? Are you going to walk into the deep woods, or are you going to keep the road in your sights?
Oh.
Right.
I mean, we can walk a line, like in hunting almost.
Okay. So you're trying to keep as far away from the road that people don't have to be stealthy and you still won't be heard by people on the road. Is that right? Okay. That's reasonable distance, but that's absolutely fine. The woods are so big here and your skill is predominantly in woods anyway, so you don't have an issue doing that. I think it takes you about an hour to orientate yourself to where you are and where you're going using your ability before you can just move normally. So you spend the first hour pretty much just walking ahead and scouting and checking the lie of the land and making sure that you've got the moss on the right side of the tree, which would dictate which way you're going and things like that. So the first hour isn't the fastest that you could possibly move. But after that, once you're 100% sure which way you're going and the way you're going is the way that you want to go, you can pick your pace up and everybody can go with you, and you move through the forest at a reasonable speed. Okay. Now the sun was morning still, so it hadn't quite reached its zenith, and as you travel, the sun does reach the apex above you and it gets a bit warmer. The canopy of the trees overhead are quite thick in places. Well, in fact, everywhere they're thick. so you're getting quite a bit of shade. But what that does mean is it keeps the heat in as well. So it's getting quite humid underneath the canopy where you guys are at the moment as you head down to the southwest. And as you go, you hear the sounds of typical woodland animals. You see rabbits and squirrels in trees, and there are birds flitting backwards and forwards. There are insects in the sky buzzing around your face and neck as you go through. Nothing out of the ordinary, nothing untoward, and all the animals are exactly animals that you, Rain, would expect to see in a forest like this. You walk for a good few hours. You realise that even moving at the pace that you are currently moving, it's still going to take you a few days to get to the river. And for those days' travel, you're going to be in the forest. Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm a hermit, so I live out here too, or used to.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, if we have to eat each other, I think I might go for you guys first.
Fair. Well, the end of the first day approaches, and you've been walking for probably a good 6 hours. So you're all quite tired.
And shall we find a place to make camp for the night?
We we can do a little um, hunting around, see if we can't find any rabbits or something.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you are completely used to being in forest, that's fine.
So I guess me and Farron can go out hunting while everybody kind of makes a makeshift campground.
Um,
Alright.
yeah, I mean, you're tired. Well, all of you are tired, but Farron is probably less tired, purely because he is completely used to this sort of natural terrain. But that all of you could go out foraging or hunting if you wanted to. It doesn't make any difference particularly. You're not so tired that.
Oh, fair enough.
Also,
I will seek out roots and berries.
yeah. Also, Rain, Farron, you, because you lived your whole life in this sort of environment, you know where to go to forage and get the biggest crop of whatever it is you're looking for, whether that be mushrooms or berries or things like that. You know what to do. So after about half an hour, the two of you forage, and you come back with like a shit ton of stuff in comparison to Anatsum. And that's all part of your natural explorer ability, and as for your class, basically, when you forage, you find twice as much food. So you do come back with twice as much. So between the
being a hermit in the forest, it doesn't really help me here.
Um, Just checking to see whether or not it says. I'm going to say no, but what it does give you is the ability to know the good food from the bad food, which mushrooms are good, which ones are going to kill you, and where to forage and get things like that. Absolutely, you can do that quite happily, and possibly a normal person wouldn't be able to do that, but you don't have the class ability like the ranger does of being able to find twice as much food when you forage.
Okay.
Does that seem fair?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it's a selection of mushrooms, berries, and some small fruits that you find. You make some kind of wild mushroom and berry compote, which is very nice. Possibly some wild rice. Okay, doesn't matter. You get food. You eat.
Yummy.
It's getting dark by the time you get back and eat. You certainly wouldn't want to take these people tromping through the woods with you. You'll be fine. Yeah. Okay. You, who's going to take first watch and who's going to take second, or are you going to have more than 2 watches?
I'll take the first watch.
All right.
And I'll take the second.
Okay, so you're going to take 3 watches, which basically means most of you get more sleep or trance time. That's fine. Okay. The 3 of you who are having watches, taking watches, can each one of you roll me just a base d20, please? Okay.
And that's him, you rolled a 10.
Oh, I did.
That'd be a 20 for an equivalent d20. Hehehe.
Right. Rain, while you are on your watch, you hear something moving around in the undergrowth about 15-20 feet away from you. Whatever it is big. Well, certainly big enough to create some kind of noise and scuffle. Yeah.
I listen.
Yeah, you can definitely hear something moving about in the undergrowth 15-20 feet away from you.
Alright, I'm gonna ready my axe and kind of like move next to a tree. Alright. Yeah, I'll nod.
Dexterously, so, I mean stealthily. Then make a stealth roll first. Okay, now make the climb roll. Okay. You get up a tree. Whatever it is, it's in the undergrowth and it's covering it, and it seems to be getting closer. So it's either an animal or it's somebody who is crawling along to get closer to you or something like that. But the undergrowth is quite thick, pretty much all over the forest, sort of 3-4 foot high in places, and it's in that sort of area. Right.
Alright. I ready my axe and I step toward where he pointed.
You're going to move towards it. Okay. The noise stops as who or whatever it is obviously hears you moving towards it, and it goes quiet. Are you going to carry on going, or are you going to stop? Or
I am going to stop and listen. Listen for more sounds and wait.
whatever it is stays quiet.
I'll look up to Rain and kind of like give like a shrug. Like, I don't know. All right. I will.
Perception rolls from both of you, please.
Okay.
This is hearing. Nice. Okay. Falstag, you're quite a bit closer than Ferron. You hear some kind of porcine grunt.
Oh man, I move forward and I begin licking my lips at the anticipation of a nice meaty chunk of bacon.
You obviously startle whatever it is, and you see coming out of the undergrowth, and you see this as well, Rain, it's quite easy, a boar that's now moving away from you. It's obviously startled. Looks like Falstag is going after it. Well, that's what it looks like now. You might stop.
No, I begin like walking toward the boar, like stalking it, and I remember that we don't want to start a fire, so I nod my head in a kind of resigned look, and kind of disappointed that I'll be eating berries tonight when I could have been having a nice strip of bacon.
Right. Okay. Okay. That's it. The rest of the night is uneventful.
Sure.
I guess so, they are. I haven't said otherwise, so
Oh yeah, I'm definitely ready to move on.
right. Okay. For want of a better word, the next 2.5 days move relatively quickly. You're moving through the forest. The forest is beautiful and it's very warm, and you see a lot of animals, and you forage for food, but you don't come in contact with anybody or any buildings or anything untoward until eventually you come out of the forest, and ahead of you, you see the river. Now, you notice that you're some distance away from the road now. You're probably a good few miles away, which is going to be the safest place so that you can come out of the forest in the right place and no noise you make is going to travel to anybody who's on the road. So you come out of the forest and you've got about a mile of open, not marsh, plain land before you get to the river. However, across the river and some 5-6 miles away, you can see a town, big town. And there is a road a couple of miles off to your right hand side that goes over a bridge over this river. And the river's wide as well.
Can we just take the path to the city?
That's certainly going to be the least wet way of doing it. The river is flowing from your right to your left. No, I mean, as you look off to the right, you can see the path. Well, it's not a path, it's actually a big road, just runs through the plainland. Where it came out of the forest, pretty much straight, and it goes from the forest in a straight line to a bridge, in a straight line to the town. Now, the town isn't, well, it is on the river, but it's not directly on the river. It's close, and there is a quayside that is kind of attached to it, but it's not quite that close. Right.
Road it is.
Okie doke. When you get to the road, you realise that it's very, very well maintained. And the bridge is a stone bridge of a lightish grey stone that is easily wide enough to get 3 carts abreast down here. It's huge. And as you get close, was that?
He said 1 second.
Okay. It's easily as equally as well maintained as that road, and the style is broadly similar. But I wouldn't say it's identical, no. Yeah, kind of. And one thing you do notice that as you get to the road and start following down the road, the plain land that you would have walked across turns into worked fields. Well, the town is really close to the river, but there doesn't appear to be much in the way of a quayside or anything else like that. I mean, there is, but that's situated further away. So the town is river fronted, but it's not. There's no quayside by it. There are buildings on your side of the river as well, situated around the bridge. Oh, tiny, tiny, tiny. Maybe a couple of thousand people. Oh yeah, oh yeah. And you can see that the houses look quite rustic, and there's a lot of cottages and things like that. But there are some bigger buildings on the West Bank, which is where you are at the moment.
Yeah, that would be the thing to do, is try and find some people to talk to.
Okay. You do notice that at one point there is actually a ford across the river as well. But it is quite wide, sort of 40 foot across in places. It's not a fast flowing river though, it's not fast flowing at all. It seems quite gentle. You could probably swim against the flow of the water reasonably happily. It's like a meandering river more than anything. You back, Luce?
Yeah, I just got back.
Cool. That's handy. I knew that.
Great minds think alike.
I know. Okay. And there are people working the fields and things like that. Where you are. Well, the biggest building has a sign hanging outside of it, so it clearly looks like some kind of mercantile business of some kind. And as you get closer, you realise that it's a picture of a deer, but a white deer, well, with antlers, so presumably a stag.
I think we should go. I think we should go visit. Ask questions and find out where we are, because as far as I know, we're lost.
Yep.
Okay. Right, so you go up to the building. You do notice that some of the people in the fields do look at you as you walk towards them, or walk towards the buildings. Not in any great detail, just, oh, strangers, what do they want? How many of them are there? Oh, fair enough. And they get back to whatever they're doing. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they all look just like normal humans. And you get up to this building, and it is indeed an inn called the White Hart. One thing you do notice is that the writing on the sign, the White Hart, is written in Elvish and Common. That's quite unusual. Generally speaking, you'll have one or the other, and where you are, and it does seem to be predominantly humans, you would just expect to have Common.
Okay.
But nevertheless, the door is open, and there are a few benches and chairs, tables outside in a kind of garden type affair, and there are people sat down at those. It's just to let you know, it's early afternoon as you approach here, and some of them appear to be drinking ales and beers out of wooden tankards, metal tankards.
It's only midday.
But it's a fancy world, and everybody's an alcoholic.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And they kind of regard you as you approach, but don't really engage you unless you engage them. Are you going to head in, or are you going to stop?
Let's head in.
And what was that we say?
I'll head in.
Okay. You head in. It's quite nice in here, purely because it's not quite as warm inside as it was outside. And outside it's really hot, really, really warm, but it's quite nice in here. So you head into a relatively gloomy at first until your eyes adjust interior with low-hanging oak-beamed ceilings and a bar. There are more people in here. There's probably, including the people outside, maybe a dozen people so far. And there is... Sorry, come. Yeah. Yeah, there is a man behind the bar who actually has his back to you at the moment. It appears to be washing up some tankards in a bowl. He turns round. You've got a guy, human, in his mid to late 40s, looks weathered and tanned, like he's worked the land quite a bit. He kind of furrows his brow and says, "You're in a Sharbenford. Where did you think you were?" "Yeah. Did you not know that?" "Ah, that's right. Are you looking for a drink, or are you just passing through?"
Yeah, I have something.
I'll turn and say, well, perhaps it would be a good idea to get some information from these people about our whereabouts and what's around.
Okay.
I mean, does anyone else agree?
I totally agree.
All right, well then, I suppose then Flint will say, well, yes, actually, we would like a drink. Is there a place where we could get one?
What would you like?
Well, preferably something a little more on the stiff side.
I can do your spirits. We've got some nice elven spirits or some dwarven spirits if you've got the stomach for it.
Right, a nice elvish wine if you have it.
We do. What vintage are you looking at? We've got a wide selection of elvish wines. I can do anything from last year's, late bottled. I think the oldest we've got is about 80 years old, although that set you back a pretty penny there.
Perhaps something's been aged for about 10 years.
10 years. Red or white?
Red, please.
Red. Yeah. goes under the counter and pulls out a few bottles, looks at the mums and ahs, puts some of them back, pulls out another one, sort of nods, stands up, and he shows you a bottle. You're not familiar with the vineyard at all, but the whole label is written in Elvish and it's slightly dusty. And he hands that bottle over to you and says, "How about that? Some of that?"
Yes, that'd be quite lovely. Thank you.
Excellent.
I'd just like some milks, please.
We can do that. He says, "Will you be paying jointly or separately?"
Separately.
"Right, you are," says with a bit of a smile. He hands over your various drinks. Now, the milk is going to cost you 3 copper pieces. Anything alcoholic is going to cost you anywhere between a silver and a gold, depending on how much you want to spend. If you spend more, you'll get something that is exquisite. If you spend less, you'll get something that is an alcoholic liquid. It's up to you what you want to spend, effectively. I don't mind that much. It's not important.
All right.
I just cross off a relevant amount. And job's a good one. Yeah. Yeah, if this is a Sharpenford, then you know whereabouts you need to go. Now, I'm not sure that... is that written into my background? Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, depending on how much money you decide to spend, your drink is either a drink or really good.
All right.
Water you can have for free.
I'll ask the bartender. I'm not familiar with this vineyard. Do you happen to know where these bottles came from?
Well, out the forest.
Oh, really? It's local.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it's all local.
Well, that is something, isn't it? Have to pay a visit.
What, to the forest? Just over there.
Well, yeah, to the vineyard specifically.
Oh yeah, fair enough. I'm sure they'll probably let you in. He peers at you a little bit.
Well, I'm a vintner myself, as it happens to be.
All right, fair enough.
Always looking to improve my craft.
I'm just thinking that whether you look elvish enough, sure it'll be fine. It's yeah, well, it's up in Cormanthor in the forest up there. It's a vineyard. We get a delivery every few months. Comes down the road there.
Yes, it's quite interesting.
It's near Galath's Roost. It's not far in, really.
I'd like to ask him if he knows where the nearest church to Ilmater is.
Not round here. No idea. We got a shrine to Shantia here, but as far as I'm aware, that's it. probably looking at going north.
All right, thank you.
I would say Hillsfar is probably going to be your best bet. It's quite a way though. Or map of the woods? No, you're not going to get a map of the woods. Not at all. You can get a map of the Dale lands. But oh, basic roads. Oh, you can get basic roads. Yeah, that'll take you from sort of like the Moonsea Ride up to Hillsfar and things like that. That's absolutely fine. But you won't get any minute detail. You're probably looking. Think about it. I would say, well, the House of the High Council is probably going to have some. Either that or the Black Eagle Costa. They're a trading company. They will definitely have some. Whether they'll sell one to you is a different matter. Or you've got Jarwayne. He's got a shop, and he brings a lot of stuff in. He's probably got a map. Probably got some for sale. Yeah, you've got a few choices. Mind you, I'd stay. When I say stay away, I wouldn't go to the High Council unless you come up nothing on the other two. To be quite honest, High Council is a bit of a last resort, I think. Try.
No, I'm quite good.
I'd like to ask them if there's any trouble about anything they need help with.
Not round here. You're probably going to want to go up to Mithra All for that, I would have thought, or maybe over to Shadowdale. That's probably where all the trouble is. Oh, Daggerdale maybe. Go over to the Desert's Mouth Mountains to the west. Always trouble over there. Orcs, giants, things like that. What sort of things you looking for? Just work or?
No, adventuring type of work.
Ah, right. Well, you could probably get a boat up to Shadowdale. There's probably going to be some adventuring work up there for you. Or head down to Tilverton, top of Cormere, down the Moonsea Ride. Or Hillsfar up to the north. I reckon those are your best bets. All a long way in each direction though.
I don't believe so, Sabin.
Okay.
No, he's talking about the well, the guy that you killed for starters. There's only one guy, and then the mage who, yeah. So them. It depends what sort of work you're looking for. I mean, if it's just adventuring work, then those are your best bets. But you're always going to find some stuff up in Shadowdale. Tilverton is really close to the Desert's Mouth Mountains, so you're going to find work there as well. And Hillsfar, well, it's Hillsfar. Quite close to Zentil Keep. Always going to be trouble. Yes. Zentrum.
Centaurum.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, basically.
I think this is the first time my character has actually heard you guys say Zinterum, right?
Well, that's if he actually says it.
Well, alright.
Which is up to Pharaon. To which I'll say, you probably shouldn't speak that so loudly.
Well, I'll pipe in and ask, who are they?
The barman's looking quite interestedly over at what you're saying because you're quite close to him. He says, so why are you looking for the Zentrum then?
Oh no, not the Zentaurum. The Flimblarin. It's totally different.
Don't bullshit me. He puts his hands onto the counter. Why are you looking for the Zentrum?
Uh,
Uh-huh. You don't think he believes you? Okay. Yeah.
User left your channel.
Who's that? Oh, combo. Okay. He looks down at the goal. Doesn't appear to take it, but he doesn't stop you from going. What about the rest of you?
I'm gonna go out with
Yeah, I'll follow.
Rain.
I guess I'll follow with the people that I've been traveling with.
I'll follow.
Okay. You head out. Yeah. Okay.
That would be lovely. Don't sound like very nice people. I'll stop. I'll look like I'm thinking, and then I'll say, I guess I'll postpone contacting my church until I investigate this Zentorum more appropriately.
No, that was pretty concise. I mean,
We had
that's
very
kind of
similar
basically what happened.
experiences.
Yeah. Map first sounds pretty good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, now that you know where you are, you don't think you need a map yourself to get to Hillsfar. I mean, basically, Hillsfar is if you followed the road north out of town across the river, it would take you to Hillsfar. Yes. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it sounded like the maps that we would be able to procure would be kind of limited in the information that they map out. Like, we just get very rudimentary maps of like the immediate area. But if we could procure like a more detailed map of a large area, that would be worth having, I would imagine. I believe that I did. I think I have them written down.
Yeah, you did.
Yep, right there. Thieves' tools.
Yeah. Okay. So at the moment, you're still on the other side of the river, and you're probably 30 yards away from the pub, slightly further up the road. And the reason you've gone further up the road away from the town is there are less buildings, so nobody to overhear you. So obviously you wanted that sort of conversation without people eavesdropping from buildings. And as you look back down towards the town, you notice that in the road, some maybe 30, 40 yards further on past the inn towards the bridge, there is a man with a staff in the middle of the road who is walking up in your direction, or he's walking up the road towards you. You're further along the road. He has he's wearing dark red robes with yellow edging, and he's got his hood up, and he's bearded. It's a black beard flecked with white and grey, salt and pepper beard they call it, quite long, and he's got a staff. He does look like your archetypal wizard. He really does. Nope. If it was blood red, which it isn't, and didn't have any yellow on it, he could be potentially Thayan, although he's not bald. But it's not, it's a dark wine red. Well, Wow, you see, you can't see his eyes because he's got this hood on, but he's walking down the middle of the road and you're stood in the middle of the road, so he's walking directly towards you.
Sounds good.
Oh, so let's do that.
Okay. You walk down towards this guy. Can I have perception and alertness rolls, please, from everybody?
Perception and what?
Sorry, perception and alertness. That's my old helm. Perception rolls, please. Just perception. 21's nice. You need 15. Nice. Okay. Who are we missing? That's it, isn't it? Right, so the difficulty was 15. So that's Kevros, Ferron, and Anatom. And boy, is it ever Anatom with a 25. You notice that he has his robes in the yellow edging all the way around the edge of his robes. You can see very, very finely worked into there is a marking that is repeated again and again and again and again and again in line all the way around all the edging, around his cuffs, around his hood, around the base of the robes. And what you realise is this exact same marking was present on the armour and the tabard of the guy you spoke to in your, what I'm going to call, dream that you've just had. The guy on the God's Theatre battleground. He was referred to as Lorethian. He stops and holds his head up so you can see into his eyes. You notice the guy's human. He's old. He's very, very old. He's 70, 80 probably. But his eyes are a piercing blue, brilliant, brilliant, brilliant blue, like there's incredible intelligence behind them. They haven't become dulled with age or anything like that at all. And he kind of smiles, and when he smiles you see his teeth are in very, very good condition, not again what you would expect to see on a 70, 80-year-old man. And he says, yes, I am aware of who you speak, and who might you be, and your companions. Fair enough. Ah. And how is he? Is he well? It's been a long time since I have had the opportunity to gaze upon him for myself. A battle? No, I should imagine. Yes. And your friends? You're all... Ah, no. You're not an elf, he says as he looks at you, Falstag. But I sense... Yeah. Interesting.
You're right, I'm not an elf.
No.
You're back.
Not today, anyways.
Not today. No. A few days ago, perhaps you were, weren't you? Yes, you were.
You are correct.
Ah, interesting. I can see the threads of fate weaving and heading off. Interesting. Interesting. So,
We have
Farron,
seen the power of the elves.
quite. Farron, your friends, what are their names? Please, I would be intrigued.
I introduce myself as Flint Blackwood.
Mr.
Pleasure
Blackwood,
to meet you.
and a pleasure to meet you, sir.
I introduce myself as Falstag, Scourge of Lizardmen.
Scourge of Lizard Men. Really?
Perfect.
Welcome, Falstag, to our humble town. And that's him. And Kevros.
Hello.
You're either a cleric or a paladin, am I correct? He says, talking to you, but saying,
A paladin, sir.
a paladin. It's one of the two. I wasn't quite sure. You had that sort of air around you, which means you, he says, turning to Anatson, yes, you're a druid, aren't you?
Why, yes, I am.
Excellent, good. And also, there's Griffin there as well, Dalgar. And he says, that must mean you're a mage. Is that right? And Dalgar says, yes, why not? Excellent, right. Well, my name is Aloysius. And, you're heading into town, is that correct? Are you looking at purchasing anything in particular? Is there anything I can assist you with? I'm sure there must be, for people such as yourselves.
You don't happen to have a handy map about you, do you?
Not about me, but I have a map back at my abode of the area, I'm assuming, this area.
Yes.
Yes, well, perhaps you'd like to follow me, and you can have it. Yes. Well, it's interesting. It's all to do with something called a falling star. Now, down throughout the millennia, there have been these falling stars, right? And what happens is each time one of them turns up, it's a portent for something monumental, something momentous to occur. Quite often, the occasion is very, very good. In fact, most often the occasion is very, very good, and let's not beat about the bush here. Sometimes, however, the occasion is bad. And we are due for another falling star. Very, very, very shortly, I would say within the week. Or at least so my divinations have told me. And the other divinations that I have done have told me that I should walk along this road on this day at this particular time. And the rest, or the next part of it, as it were, will be made available to me. I'm guessing that you are part of whatever it is that I have been divining for the last several months, so I am very, very intrigued indeed. So, to that aims, one of my jobs is to assist you where I can in some small way. I have... No, I'm not going to say anything. I'm going to keep it as a surprise, but I have something for you, put it that way. All I can say is, please, if you wish to follow me, I bear you no ill will at all, and I will show you my humble abode, get you that map. It's getting late on in the day. I can probably find you lodgings somewhere in an inn at no cost, and then hopefully send you upon your merry way on the morrow. Would that be acceptable?
A nice bed to sleep in would be a good change.
Yes, I should imagine so. No doubt you've been travelling through the woods for a few days, is that correct?
Yes, it is quite correct.
From the Standing Stone, I believe. Yes, it's interesting. People always come out there. Always. I did myself some time ago. Last time I saw Lorethian, in fact. Very long time ago for me, though. Only about half an hour ago for him, I should imagine. It's gods for you, what can I say? Anyway, please follow me. He turns and walks back down the road. Okay. You walk across the bridge and into a Sharpenford. And you take the first left. You go past the shrine to Chantier that you see quite happily bearing its holy symbol. And you go around a little winding road. It's very, very open here. The buildings are not tightly put together at all. There's lots of grass and yards and areas in between where animals can graze or children can play, things like that. It's very, very open, and it's really nice and picturesque, and it's lovely and warm, and it's just a really nice place to be. And you can see kids playing quite happily, and they don't appear to have a care in the world. They're not paying you any attention other than the idle curiosity that children would do to strangers. They seem to be playing with hoops and sticks. And
I admired their innocence.
Yeah, it won't be long. And you get to a house, a reasonable sized house, and he just opens the door. It doesn't appear that there's even a lock on the door. He just opens it and goes in. He says, please, do come in, do come in. Or you can stay out in the garden if you wish. I could bring some drinks out. It's entirely up to you.
Agreed.
Yep, follow.
You go into a big house, but it looks like there's a lot of books and a lot of parchments and cloth about. There's pennants hung up here, there, and everywhere. There's a lot of stuff in this house. There is probably, well, it looks like there's hundreds of years worth of accumulating detritus just everywhere. It's almost as if the guy lives as a hermit in his own house. A very, very ordered hermit, mind, but it's almost like you're walking through tunnels of books, that sort of thing. But it's all very clean. It's all very, very clean in here, though. That's the difference. And he says, oh, please excuse the mess. As you can see, I do a lot of reading. Yeah, there's a lot of books here, probably 20,000 of them, I should imagine. Yeah, but ignore them. Well, if you want one, take one. I don't mind. But please come through. All right. Okay.
At first glance, does he happen to have any books that look particularly interesting?
Oh Christ, all of them. They all look interesting. They all look interesting. You can be from interesting spines on them, or a word that catches your eye, like wyvern or cockatrice or things like that. They're all interesting, every single one of them.
Anything pertaining to dragons or the falling star?
You do find a book that has the word Blackwood written on the spine.
Since he's offered to allow us to take one, I will pick that book up.
Without turning, he says, good choice.
Good sir, do you have some advanced smithing for dummies?
Sir, you are far from being a dummy. I'm fairly sure we have some books that would cater to somebody of your ability somewhere. Let me have a
Awesome.
look. I'll Well, anyway, come through here. Come through to the study, the lounge area. Take a seat, and I shall get some iced juice of some kind. Are you familiar with orange juice? The juice of the orange fruit. It's quite a delicacy.
No, I've never heard of it.
If you haven't had it, it's a fruit that grows on a tree in tropical climes, and we have it imported. It's quite expensive, but it is exquisite. I should get some.
That sounds absolutely lovely.
It's got quite a tart taste to it. It's a, you know, it's a bit sharp on the tongue, but you water it down with a little bit of water, it takes that away completely. Put a bit of ice in, and you'd never know. It's fantastic.
This isn't alcohol, correct?
No, it's not alcohol at all. No, not even remotely. No, it's all just fresh fruit from the tree, nature, as nature intended. Not fermented in any way, shape or form. I don't drink alcohol at all. I've taken a vow not to.
As have I.
Ah, a wise man. You know what they say about alcohol? He says as he turns away and disappears through a door. Please, sit. There's lots of chairs about here. They're all different types, but they're all like leather and stuffed here, stuffed with like feathers and things like that. So there's lots of different types of chairs to sit in. Again, it's very, very clean, just very odd. There's not one piece of furniture that matches another piece of furniture, but it's all clean and it's all in good condition.
Yeah,
He comes back through. Okay, he comes back through a few minutes later with this big wooden jug and six small matching wooden tumblers, effectively mugs, and he pours out this orangey liquid into them. Takes one of them himself and takes a sip out of it. Fantastic. And then hands the tray round to people. Please help yourself. Puts it down on a table in the middle of you guys.
Pour drinks for everyone, I guess.
Yes.
He sort of nestles back into a chair with his tumbler in front of him, and he shakes it a little bit and takes a mouthful. Oh, it's fantastic. It is my favourite drink without a shadow of a doubt, but it's really difficult to get hold of. Fortunately, we get deliveries through quite regularly, but never in the winter. Never, ever in the winter. Just can't get it in the winter. It's just terrible. So I make the most of it in the summer, though, and of course we are in the middle of summer right now, so I'm making the most of it.
Taking a drink, I will comment on the taste.
Yeah.
Oh, this is absolutely fantastic. You're right.
I know, isn't it? I much prefer this. I mean, really, alcohol, it dulls the senses, it dulls the mind, it dulls the wit, and it dulls the tongue. Why on earth would you want to have something over something like this, which is alive and refreshing and just quenches the thirst? It's, you know, as far as I can tell, it's a complete no-brainer. But of course, try selling that.
Well, it complements certain foods quite nicely.
Well, I should imagine like a venison, a nice red wine would go very well with a venison, whereas orange like this probably wouldn't. But given that sort of situation, I'd rather just have a mug of water.
Well, to each their own, I suppose.
Right, yes. I sat down. Terribly rude of me. I meant to get a map for you. Hang on, let me get a map. And he gets up and moves away. And Roll20 is playing up. Go on, Roll20. Oh, right, I'll come back to that. He goes and rummages around and pulls out a scroll and brings it back.
Thank you.
He says, "This is, I think, what you're looking for." And you unwrap it, and it is indeed a map of the area. Well, if I could just get Rob 20 to work, it'd be a lot easier. Is it showing yet?
No.
Oh. No, it's getting lag in it or not? Alright, anyway. He says, so, now, of course, what were you told when you were in the battle not too long ago? What did he say to you?
He wanted us to observe the greatness of the elves, their power.
Seems a bit conceited. Doesn't sound like him. Must be more to it than that. Ah, is that Aylware? Aylar, that's right, okay, yes. That, right, that, for some reason that rings a bell, and I don't know why. I must have read it in a book somewhere. Okay. Oh, I have everything that ever happens or will ever happen is written in a book. Everything. Everything. Well, no, not right now, but I've got a book on it somewhere.
That's
I
quite
absolutely
impressive.
guarantee it. Oh, no, not without extensive tunnelling, I wouldn't have thought. I need to do some divinations. It's going to take a while, but I'm fairly sure I could probably find something. Although I wouldn't be able to find a book for you. None of the books are... Yeah, see, I can't find any books on me, but I know there are books there on me, but I can't find them because it's not my place to know what happens to me. And much as I should say the same is probably the same for you. So, although there might be a book about you, I could read it, but you couldn't. I doubt your friends could either, just in case they tell you. Really, the only person that can read these sort of books is me. But, it's interesting. I'd have to find it first. And it's not going to be an easy thing to do. I don't even know where it is. But it's going to be there. I guarantee it'll be there somewhere. Yeah, it's interesting. I'm curious. Was it Aylware? Aylar? Aylar, right, that's it. Yes, good. Yeah, interesting. So that book that you've got there, he says, pointing to the book you're holding, Sabin, that's probably your family tree. It might mention you, but it won't have any detail. If it had any detail, you wouldn't have that book, put it that way. If that book had any information about you, it wouldn't be in your hands. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Right, okay, good. Check sometimes, I'm not sure things I always say make sense. But yes, right, no, right. Good. Now, arrows. I'm guessing that you, Ferron, you're looking for arrows, right? Right, excellent, good. Okay, I know where I am now on that book, so that's good. Okay, so tigers. Why does tigers mean something?
Well, we did run into a few early on in our adventure.
Yeah, no, there's a bit more to it than that. Oh, yes, druid. Shape-shifting. Yes? Am I right? Am I on the right track?
Thinking that's I'm still not back yet, so, but I imagine he'd probably nod.
Right. Brilliant. Okay, good. Right, well, we're all on the same page there. yeah. It's quite a good joke, that, really, although I probably said that far too many times. Anyway, right. Yeah. And so so you've done the tower thing by now, haven't you?
Yes, we have been in a tower.
No, the whole tower thing. You know what I mean, don't you? Yeah. I'm fairly sure you've done that, because as far as I can remember, that was before seeing Coralon, so that's fine. So you've done that, so that was before. So, right, good. We're all up to speed. Excellent, excellent. We're all up to speed. Everyone is on the same page. Said it again. It's not quite as funny the second time, or for you probably the first time, but it doesn't matter. It is still hilarious. Yeah. Right. A strange but very loyal gentleman.
He had a cat
Yes,
with
he had a
wings.
cat.
Oh, did he have silver hair? Is that what he had,
Yes, I
silver
believe he
hair?
did.
Right.
Hey, there's the map picture.
I just kept clicking it until it turned up. Okay. Welcome back. Right, well, yeah, so he's quite old, if it's the one I'm thinking of. No, I think he hasn't aged. If it is the guy I'm thinking of, yeah, he's got a winged cat, and he looks kind of elven features, silver hair, wearing purple.
Yes, that's him.
Right, okay, so yeah, he's about 11,000 years old, I think.
So I lean in and I whisper, "Is he a dragon?"
Is he a dragon? No, but that's interesting you say that. I'm fairly sure he's got a connection with them, although I don't know what. Well, he could be a dragon, I suppose, but he does have there is a connection. I'm sure there's a connection there.
I just blurt out, "I knew it. He was a dragon, guys. I told you."
Well, no, I'm not saying he's a dragon, but there's a connection there. It might be that he was affected by a dragon, or that little winged cat of his is a dragon, or
Yep, there's a connection.
yes, there is a connection, but I don't know what it is. I could probably find out. Not quickly, again, it's going to take time. I've got a lot of books here, but I could probably find out.
Falstag's very convinced at this point.
Hey. I think, I don't know. I know that I know that he's connected to you, right? He's connected to you. I don't know why. Not yet, I don't know. Well, anyway, I might be able to find out, but not quite yet. He's connected to you, and his part in this is not over. Does that help? Well, have to suffice or not, that's all I've got, I'm afraid. So he's going to have to suffice. But anyway, yes, I said I had some things for you, and I do. I've been asked to hang on to them. What do they happen to them? Oh yeah, hang on. Right, wait there. He gets up and kind of bounds out of the room, surprisingly sprightly for somebody of his age. I say bound, but he's surprisingly sprightly. And he comes back with... Where are we? Right. That's weird. Okay. Fuck's sake. Every time I speak, my spreadsheet disappears. That's very strange. He comes back, first of all, with a shield. And he says, right, who's one of you uses a shield? It's you, isn't it? He says, looking at you, Falstag. You use a shield.
I raise my big hand up in the air.
Right, well, this is yours. Just giving it back to you.
What does it look like?
It's a round shield made of metal. It's very, very light. It's quite plain, apart from it's made of a sort of a darkish grey metal, almost like a gunmetal in colour, and inlaid on the front of it in a slightly darker, slightly more bronzy colour is the suggestion of fire, of flames. But it's, if you looked at it straight on, you would be very difficult to see. It's only when it catches the light can you determine that there's actually an engraving and there's more to it. It's really nicely done. And it's light. By Christ, is it light.
I smile and I say, thank you. This is a wonderful, wonderful shield.
I know. I'm sorry I've had it for so long. I hope you didn't miss it. Right, back in the mo.
I look like puzzled for a second.
He comes back with a long bag, a green velvet bag with a drawstring enclosure. It's quite long, and he undoes the drawstring, looks in, and mutters something to himself along the lines of, "Is this the right thing? Yeah, I'm not sure. Oh yes, right." And he pulls out a bow. It's not strung. Pulls out a bow, and he goes, "Right, well that's clearly yours," and he hands it straight to you, Rain. And what you've got is a brown bow that has, again, it's made of wood. Again, it has the, much like the shield, the suggestion of a darker green leaf pattern running from the grip, hand grip, all the way up to the tines, top and bottom. It's no string. I know. Is it like you remembered? Anyway, back in the mo. Goes off and he comes back with a dagger in a scabbard. And he goes, right. Is this for the wizard? No, it's not. It's not. No, it's not you, he says, pointing at Natsum. I'm fairly sure it's not going to be you if you're a paladin, so it must be you, he says, pointing at Flint. This must be yours. Right?
Really?
This is yours, isn't it?
Out of game, do I recognize the dagger?
No, I've got a clue.
All right. So I'll say no. I don't believe it is. I've never seen it before in my life.
He laughs. You and your games. He hands it over to you. Right, back in a mo. Walks back out of the room again. Comes back in with a pair of gloves. He goes, right, no, these are definitely for the wizard. You're the wizard, so these are yours. And he hands them over to Griffin, who takes them and looks at them a bit oddly. And last, but by absolutely no means least, and I really mean that, he goes out, comes back with a sickle. And he goes, clearly a sickle. Who's this going to be if it's not for you? It's you, isn't it? It's you, he says, pointing at you and Atom. You use a sickle, don't you?
Oh, why, yes, I do.
Well, then this is yours. Enjoy. Right. So I was asked to look after those for you for when you wanted them again, so I'm sorry it's been so long, but I hope you haven't missed them too much. And yeah. Oh, yes, he was, thank you. And he goes back out. You're quite correct. And he comes back. He says, oh, nearly forgot. So sorry. There's been, you see, it's terrible when prophecies have to get changed. First of all, we had this human who was part of it, and then he disappeared, and then you turned up, and it all got very, very confusing, and it was all different, and I had to go back and reread a book again, and it got terribly confusing, and I just missed off the part, and I totally forgot. Please do accept my apologies, and here's your sword. And he hands you a sword that has the Ilmatar holy symbol on the pommel. He says, this is yours.
I take the sword. I thank him. I'm sure things like these don't happen often, but at least you remembered.
Yeah, I got something just jogged my memory, and I can't think what it was, but something. Yeah. Sorry. All I can do is apologise. So that's yours. So no, see, it's interesting because I had to swap out when I was reading, and it all kind of changed, and the words moulded together and all got a bit weird and wishy-washy, and I went to sleep because I started to get a headache. When I woke up the next day, I picked up the book again, and everything had changed, and gone was the human, and in his place, he was a warrior, a fighter of some kind. In his place was a paladin. It was you, which is interesting. Sometimes things like that happen. It's the will of the gods. It's the will of the gods. I remember when I first read the book some time ago, there was this awful, drab, dull little sorcerer, but fortunately he's gone now. So strange.
So
Anyway.
good.
Anyway, so yes, so those are yours. Again.
Right. Well, where did they come from? You say they're ours, but I don't recall ever having such a thing in my possession.
Right.
Nor do I remember losing it.
You must have lost it for me to pick it up. Coral on Erethian.
We've heard this before, right?
Right. I'm just. You don't need to make rolls. Coral Lorethian is an elven god.
Okay.
Right. Well, so these are gifts from a god.
No, they're yours. They're not gifts from him. They're yours. They've always been yours. He just asked me to look after them until you came to collect them again.
Do you know where I acquired this shield prior to today?
No, I haven't really bothered looking into that. Didn't seem to be a terribly useful thing to know. He asked me a long time ago, so I've just been looking after it for a while for you.
I think to myself, well, I've seen weirder shit, and I go along with it.
'Tis true.
Well, I can't really say more than that, I'm afraid. It's not that I don't want to, I just can't. I don't have any more information. Well, I do, I have lots more information, but I have to go careful what I say in case I say too much and then disappear in a puff of logic. It's a cross I have to bear, unfortunately. But there you go. Well, I hope you... No, that's no good, because you can't remember them. I said, I hope you didn't miss them, but if you don't remember them in the first place, you're not really going to miss them. Well, hello.
So, is there anything special about these items?
What do you mean? What do you mean by special? Do you mean...
Well, they do look like they've been exquisitely crafted.
Oh yes, all of them exquisitely crafted. Yeah, absolutely.
So, I guess holding the item, do I feel like it has any kind of magical ability?
I mean, all of the items that you've got are exquisitely crafted. Exquisitely crafted. And they certainly feel like this type of item that could have magical properties. Put it that way, it's that well crafted.
Okay, well, I guess if we have some time, then we'll take Delgar's pearl and I use identify as a ritual on the dagger that I have.
Are you going to do that there?
Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that our host is going to continue conversing with everyone else.
Just talking for 10 minutes while this weird guy performs a ritual.
As you start to do that, he says, I wouldn't do that here if I were you.
Oh, out of curiosity, why not?
Well, because the whole thing, the whole place is designed to be very, very good for me to cast spells, but really, really bad for anybody else to cast spells.
Oh, right. Well then,
I've made it so in case anybody comes into my house and tries to attack me, they're in for a world of pain. So my spells work really well. Anyone else's spells will go horribly wrong. So I wouldn't do that here. Just thought I'd tell you because you seem like a decent chap.
oh, thank you. You
And
also seem like a decent fellow.
I'd very much hate for your skin to be turned inside out because you don't want your organs on the outside of your body because it's not very conducive to staying alive, no matter. So it's really so don't do it.
Right, you are. So with that, I'll stop.
Okay. Well, I think that's probably everything I can do to help. Yeah.
Do you have any advice for us going forward?
Yes, I do. I have one piece of advice for you, and that is that not everything you see is quite as black and white as it seems. That might sound obvious, but I've read what you've been doing. So yeah, that's probably that, I would say. But yeah. Gond. That's it. Right, sorry. Yes. So you're heading north then, I take it?
Well, that was the plan.
Yeah, fair enough. Hillsfar is going to be quite beautiful this time of year. The moon sea, I should imagine. If you're lucky and it's not too misty, you might even be able to see the bell of the deep. Possibly. But anyway, if you do get a chance to go to the bell in the deep, I would. Really would.
Oh, what is the Bell in the Deep?
It's a city. It's a sunken city. Quite beautiful.
Oh, underwater.
Yes, that's generally where things are when they're sunken. But yes, absolutely.
Well, seeing as how water doesn't have breathable air, is it possible that you have a way of us breathing underwater?
No, but I'm fairly sure you can get something up near there. Good adventure there. There's probably a lot of evil still in the belly of the deep. There's yeah, there's a lot of nasty creatures went there. That's why it was sunk.
Right.
What year is it? Oh no. Again, lots of adventure. You could probably pick up a bit of coin, some knowledge, some magic, but at the cost of a lot of nastiness. It's entirely up to you. It's not a pleasant place. I mean, I haven't been there for a very long time. Very, very long time. So I don't really know what it looks like now. Such a shame. The City of Song was a fabulous place. Fabulous, fabulous. Beautiful. It's the capital of Cormantha way back when, you know. Yeah. It's all down to the demons. That's what's horrible place. Such a shame. Such a shame. Yeah.
One final question.
Yes.
Perhaps you can help me. A while back, I came across this curious little bauble. I was wondering if perhaps you could help me locate the owner, and I'll show him the earring that I have. It's a silver teardrop earring made from a real teardrop.
Right. He kind of peers at it and goes, what's that? Oh, no, I can't. No idea. Sorry, none. Recoils away a little bit. No, can't talk to you about that. Not allowed.
Okay.
Right.
So
No.
I'll put it back in my pocket and say,
He kind of stares at your pocket a little bit.
right. Well.
Yeah. There's only one other thing that I can say to you, and that is, if you meet somebody in Hillsfar and they are desperate for money, give them some money. It'll work out. Don't question. Don't ask them or anything else. But if you find somebody and they ask you for money and they look like they're in dire need of it, give them some. That's another thing I can tell you that will pay off for you if you do it right.
Right. Thank you.
Are we getting up and leaving? All right, then.
Yeah.
After they exit the room, I'd like to stay back and kind of ask him in a quieter voice if he knows anything about my father.
Okay, you wait for everyone else to go.
Yeah.
Right. He says, your father, now, if I'm not much mistaken, your mother died of sickness. Is that some kind of sickness? Is that what it was? Was it a disease of some kind?
Yes.
All right. Okay, right. So that's right. Now, your father. Oh yes. I very much think he's still alive. And if I remember correctly, he went through a massive atonement for something he did. I don't know what it is, I can't remember that, but he did something. And he had to atone for it, and apparently he did. And he has a position of some responsibility. He wasn't a wizard, was he? No, he wasn't, was he? No, he was a warrior of some kind, wasn't he?
I honestly don't know.
I think he did something bad in his past, and he regretted it for a very long time, until he did something to atone for whatever it was, to clear his conscience and to make amends with himself, the person or people he trespassed against, for want of a better word, and his, in the eyes of his god, whatever, and has taken up a position of some responsibility in a city somewhere. Apart from that, I can't be any more exact, I'm afraid, but that seems to ring a bell with me.
Yeah, I'll thank him for that and move on with the rest of the group.
Okay. You head out. It's still beautifully sunny out here. You leave the building. And I guess you walk away. Yes, no? Don't talk at once.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right. Can you make me perception rolls, please? All of you, as you walk away. And you need to get 20. Well, actually, no, you don't. That's completely. You need to get 10. So just don't be inept. That's pretty much everybody then, isn't it? Missing anyone? Who are we missing?
And that's him.
Okay. And that's you there? Ninja AFK Zong. Okay. Right. As you walk away, you're kind of, I suppose, idly chatting amongst yourselves about what the hell has just happened and what is this rubbish, weird things that you've now got. And you look back to find that there is no building where that building was at all. It's gone. And in fact, looking at it, there was never any building there. It's just plain grassland next to a couple of buildings.
Huh. Well, that's peculiar. Yes, I would agree.
Okay. Well, there's a couple of inns in town, apart from the White Hart, which you were at earlier. Where are we? You've got the Sharbenford Arms, which is quite close to where you are at the moment, which looks pretty big and quite hospitable. It's at the end of the road that you're walking down towards a T-junction. It's the other side of the T-junction. It's got quite a nice front. There's a stable to the right of the building and a courtyard, and there's a couple of young lads who are grooming some horses, and you can see about 4 or 5 wagons in there, all bearing the same purple livery. Looks like a merchant trader of some kind.
Well, if it looks hospitable, I say we just, go there.
Okay. short of anyone saying otherwise, you head into the building. The building's quite busy. There's probably about 30 people in here, and you would say that 20 of them are similarly dressed in purple tabards and purple livery and are clearly to do with the merchant caravan. The rest of them look like they're townsfolk. A few people look up at you as you come in, but no one really pays you any attention. Up to one of the merchants. Oh, one of the guys in purple. He says, I don't know, we're just passing through, but I do know that there's a couple of merchant shops in town. One of them belongs to the coster that we work with. You could probably get some arrows there. I'm fairly sure you can get some arrows there, to be quite honest. We're right next to the Cormantherian woods. You're going to be able to find arrows there quite happily. That's right. A man comes from behind the bar and runs up to you and says, gentlemen, can I help you at all? Are you looking for somewhere to stay? You're just food, drink?
All three actually.
Excellent. Well, welcome to one of Asharbanford's 2 most finest inns.
Thank you.
Please, take a seat. Are you looking for a hot fare or a cold repast?
Well, I don't know. It's summer day, so I guess cold.
Really? We have the most exquisite boar sausages. They're served hot with a hunk of fresh, warm bread and mustards, and they are exquisite. They are actually made on the premises by my good lady wife.
That sounds lovely. I'll have some of that.
Very well. Is that for 6 people? You all wish this?
Yes.
I turn looking around at everyone, make sure everyone's okay with it.
I nod.
Yep.
Oh, you're heading back through the forest. Well, you can probably sort you out some packages of food to take with you that will last you for probably a couple of days. Fresh food, I mean. At least you have for the next couple of days fresh food, sausages, cheeses, breads, things like that.
Yes, please.
Well, let's get your lunch out of the way first, and then we can talk about that. I can sort that out for you quite happily. And drinks, are you gentlemen looking for alcoholic beverages or for something non-alcoholic at this particular point?
Perhaps non-alcoholic, right, for now. For me, at least.
I do recommend the orange juice if you haven't ever had it before.
Yes, the orange juice sounds exquisite.
It really is. It's a trifle on the expensive side. I might say that. I will be upfront with you. It's going to cost you 4 silver pieces per mug. But
oh dear.
It is absolutely exquisite. If you haven't had it before, you're in for a treat. If you have had it before, well, you know what sort of treat you're in for. Apart from that, we can do milk, water's free. We can do ales and spirits and wines, really whatever you want.
Perhaps just some water for now.
Just some water. I shall bring a pitcher of water and some glasses for you. Please, take a seat.
Alright, so sit down.
In very short order, he brings out the food and the water. The sausages are really thick, long sort of rings of sausage. You get 2 of those each. There's a lot of meat there. And it's really succulent and moist and full of flavour. And the bread is freshly baked, literally within the last hour. So it's warm and it's crusty and it sort of breaks apart and gently steams. And you've got fresh salted butter there as well that just melts as soon as it touches the bread. And it's just exquisite.
Awesome.
Okay. The rest of you eating the boar sausages? And it is good, actually. It is very, very good. Slightly spiced with something like paprika or something like that, so it's got a slightly reddish sort of hue. Ever so slightly spicy on the tongue, but by God, it's good. And he says, he comes back to you and says, well, what I could do is I can do a selection of breads, cheeses, and meats. That'll be sliced hams and some boar sausages in individual portions, and it'll last 2 days each. So that for 60, that'll be 12 individual portions, and that will cost you, shall we say, 12 silver in total. Well, I can give you more bread, so therefore it'll be equivalent. Okay. Does that seem acceptable to the rest of you?
Sounds good.
Sounds okay. Yeah.
Excellent. In that case, I shall sort that out for you while you are eating. Sorry? Okay, well, he goes away and he lets you eat. You finish eating. What are you going to do now? He comes back with these packages sealed in wax paper, and he wants effectively 2 silver pieces from each of you in order to cover this.
Yep. Hand him 2 silver pieces.
Yep.
Right.
And then, I guess I'll ask, is it possible to get a room for the night?
Yep. We can do that. A room. We have only have single rooms, I'm afraid, so we'll have to have a single room each, and they're 2 silver pieces each. Right. Well, you can sleep in the stable. Unless you know you can't really. There's a lot of fields nearby you can probably sleep in, but nobody will mind. Okay. Looks a bit confused at that, but doesn't really question it. Okay.
Alright, well, then I'll head up to my room and attempt to do the identify spell on the dagger at this point.
Yeah. Okay. The dagger is something called a dimension dagger. Once a day, you can attack somebody up to 60 feet away as if they were in melee range.
That's pretty cool.
Alright. So assuming everyone else is in their rooms and such, I will go and let them know that the dagger that I've gotten from the old man does something special, and I'll describe, what I've learned to them.
I'm excited by this news, and I wanted to ask Flint if he could identify the shield to see if there's any magical properties about it.
Yeah, and I'll do that.
The shield is a shield of flame quiescence. It's a +1 shield, and it absorbs up to the first 10 points of fire damage once per day.
I'm really excited because, like, of all the things that I wanted was an amazing shield. So Falstag is very pleased.
Would you mind examining my sword?
No, not at all. Perform the ritual on his sword as well.
Okay. It is a life giver longsword. What that basically means is that should you need to make a healing roll of some kind, so whether that is rolling the dice for a cure wound spell or getting hit dice back on yourself, blah 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 blah, you can take advantage on one roll a day for only a healing roll. Does that make sense? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. He did. He got
He
some
did.
gloves.
Some gloves.
Okay, he has spell strike gloves. And basically, once per day, when casting a touch spell, the caster may make it a ranged spell instead, at the cost of 1 bonus action.
Oh,
So
cool.
Yeah.
That's really useful. I
What
believe
about
that's
a
everyone except for...
Noxon sickle?
You want me to... Do you ask me to identify it?
Yes.
Alright, then I'll happily take it and perform the ritual on it.
It is a sickle of conjuring. All of your conjured animals have +1 hit dice. So that's not transforms, that's conjured animals.
I didn't think I conjured animals.
I think you have, like, as a druid, a spell like summon animal. Eventually. Or summon, like, animal companion or something like that. Nature's ally. Let's see.
I mean, I
That's
can
correct.
friend an animal, but that is...
Conjure animals is a 3rd level spell.
Oh, yep. You are right.
So, maybe not right now, but eventually. Then conjure woodland beings and minor elements, 4th level.
Extra hit dice on him is pretty huge.
Yep. Conjure elemental at 5th level.
Yeah, it's pretty huge.
Conjure Fey at 6th.
But you could have got your bow done if you wanted to before you went. Because we're not assuming that you finished dinner, haven't spoken to anybody, and just buggered off out into a field. You would have talked about things. People might have said, I'm going to go off and do this. I'm going to find out what my dagger does, blah, 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 blah. Or can you do my sickle? Can you do this? And you might have said, yeah, can you do my bow? So it's fine. Okay?
Yep.
It is an arrow dancer longbow. No arrows are ever required as long as natural wood is worn next to the skin.
So much for needing arrows.
So basically, as long as you have like a some kind of pendant that is an inch by an inch square or thereabouts of natural wood against your skin, your bow will never require arrows. That bow will never require arrows. Yeah. Yeah. And it's weird. Basically, what you do is you hold the bow and you pull your arm back, and an arrow appears in it. So you can't fire it any faster than you could before or anything else like that. It's just you never need arrows. The thing is, you can't pick those arrows up. Once they hit, they disappear. So once they do damage, they disappear. But they follow the same styling patterns as the rest of the bow, so they look slightly leaf-like as they are fired. Now, we're going to end quite soon, but the interesting thing is once all of you are told these abilities, there is something at the back of your mind that registers some small kind of familiarity with that. Almost as if when he says, oh, this is an arrow dancer longbow, you're going to go, I knew you were going to say that. Don't ask me why, but I just knew it was something like that. So there's these things at the back of your mind that, now that you know what it does, means something to you and you don't really know why. It's almost as if, yes, this was mine, but I'm buggered if I can remember it, but there's some small thing he said that has just jogged some kind of deja vu memory with me or something like that.
Interesting. Is there anything we can do to attempt to like jog the memory or like hold on to it and analyze it or anything like that?
No, not at the moment.
Okay.
Maybe this will come with time. But there you go. Right, and I think in all honesty, this is probably, although it's a bit early, a good time to leave it.
All right.
I got a quick question. I just looked
Yes.
up one of my spells and it says shape change. It doesn't specify it having to be a beast. It just can't be a construct or an undead. So does that mean I could theoretically turn into a dragon with shape change?
Is that the level 9 one? If it's a level 9 one, you can. I don't remember the name of it though.
Yeah, it's the level 9.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if we ever get that high of a level, that'll be fun.
Yeah.
I think you have to have like 1,500 gold crown or something in order to even attempt to use it, and it can
jade
fail.
circlet worth at least 1,500 gold. And does that get consumed?
Yes.
I mean, if it says it does, then it does.
Anytime it says that it requires something with gold and it doesn't say that, I'm pretty sure it gets consumed on it. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it does.
It just says it has to be placed on my head before casting the spell.
Oh, well, I guess if it doesn't say, then it doesn't get consumed.
Yeah, because I think certain spells do say that the item gets consumed as part of the spell.
Yeah, so yeah. If it doesn't say it, then it doesn't.
Alrighty.
Cool. Right, chaps. I will catch you all next week. Well,
All right.
I'll catch
Thank
you.
you.
In a few hours.
All right.
All
Yeah,
right.
thanks.
You have a nice day.
All right. Later.
See ya.
User disconnected from your channel. User disconnected from your channel. User left